Okay, today's walk is up onto Willsworthy Range from the roadside. Come this way, Ralph. So we go up here, up through the firing range, and maybe up onto Sharp Tor up above Tavy Cleeve, and do a circular walk here. That's the plan. Saturday morning, we were going to go to Oakhampton, but it's quite misty, so it wasn't really worth travelling all that way and climbing up all that way onto the high moor. Not seeing anything, so we've come to Willsworthy instead. A few quick shot of the target hoists, and then the berm behind. I bet there's a few rounds in that now. Looking back down the range where we've walked up. So if you're into your military infrastructure, not a bad place for a visit. Of course, you can only come when the range is open for the public, which is the weekends and other times. Always check Google and the MOD site to let you know when they're firing, because you don't want to be up here when the Royal Marines are shooting. So here we are at the range control hut, just behind the protection berm at the top of the first range. Many ways on here, so there's a couple of tracks go off to the left here, which go just right of White Hill, and they join up further up the valley. And we're going to do this little loop track now round to another set of ranges, and then try and pick our way up onto Nat Tor over there. Nat Tor, I can't remember which way around those two are. There's Lane End down there. You'll probably just see the farm if you're lucky, which is where people normally park when they're going up into Tavy Cleeve, which is in the valley just behind Ralph as we walk along here. So a very short walk down the loop track, and then we come to the junction. It's pretty obvious because you see the other set of ranges in front of you. So we're going to turn left here, pick up the track that runs alongside of these ranges, up into the valley up here. Okay, heading for Willsworthy Brook. There is the mine leat which runs around here. You can see it running across the hillside there. It fills a reservoir over there which powers the hydroelectric station further down the valley. So there'll be a footbridge across that, and then we're going to work our way up through the hillside here up onto it is Gertor. Nat Tor is the lower one, which we can't actually see, it's just over there. So Gertor's over there, so that's what we're heading for, up and over that wall and up onto Gertor, out of the range. So keep going with the track past the last of the ranges, and eventually it brings you down to the mine leat here, and then you got Willsworthy Brook coming in. Obviously there's been some damage here and they've just repaired it. You've got to pick your way a little bit carefully there. I guess you could probably get a quick dip in here in the summer if you wanted to. Looks like it's deep enough to at least get wet. And the choices are now, we can either break out up the hillside and work our way up the flank of the hill, or there's probably a track that runs along this leat back towards Lane End, and then we can go up from there, which is probably an easier way to go, but a longer walk. I'm undecided which way I'm going to go at the minute. We'll get out of here and have a little look. But I don't know how popular this is. It's probably walked quite a bit because it's quite a big path, but it feels quite secluded, and we're only really 20 minutes from the road here. So just picking our way through the field system and the gates. Hopefully when we get up here we might be able to see a little bit more, make a decision. We have to have a little look around and find out which is the right way to go. So I'll come back to you once we've found all of that out. Not entirely sure we've come the right way here. So we came down the track to where it met the leat, and then there was a track came up the other side, which you saw in the previous video, and then we just came to a little sort of like boundary with gates into different fields. And then I cut up left, come across this field here out onto the open moorland. I don't think that's the right way. I think probably what we should have done is worked our way up that hillside, gone around the top of the field boundary system. so a little bit sneaky for us to come through here. So as I said, we can either go back down and find the leat and then traverse around into Lane End and up this ridge skyline, but I think we'll just pick our way up the hillside up towards Gertor from here. So we've picked our way up the flank of Gertor. You can just see the range hut complex over there. All right, and then we came around the track system just outside down here, came up over this flank. There's no distinct path, a little bit boggy in a couple of places, but basically this sort of terrain, so open, grassy, tussocky, quite a bit of more gorse, and I think in the summer the vegetation might make it a little bit harder. But this wall is a huge feature, you can't miss this. And we aim for a little gap, and you can see Gertor just behind us there, so we're just going to pick our way up onto there. Interesting little feature here in the wall though, so I don't know what that's supposed to be. Somebody's obviously got a sense of humour. So whether that was originally put there to strain a gate or something, or just for fun, but we're going to call that the Loch Ness Monster of the dry stone wall of Gertor western flank. And then down there you got Lane End, which is the normal place for people to park. So the lead runs across this flat part here, and you can actually see the line of the lead. In fact, you can see where the path goes down and then comes back round. So you could walk the lead, I guess. We didn't find the path and didn't look too hard for it, but there probably is a path that runs along the lead. But we've cut up across the hill up to Gertor, and then we're going to pick up the ridge and go up to Haretor. Haretor, I think, is in the mist. Don't know where the dog's gone. Good boy. Good boy. Good dog, Ralph. Alright, last little ascent up to Gertor. So here we are on Gertor at the range pole. Looking back down, so you've got Lane End down there, which is the normal place. The Leat coming down the valley with the River Tavy, and the Tavy Cleave down here. These rocks over here will have a name, but they're not named on the map, so I don't know what they are, which is a bit weird because they're quite big really. And then we can just see, so we're going to go up to Haretor, which is in the mist up there behind that patches of snow, and then hopefully back down around to Sharp Tor, which I think you can just see on the ridge over there. Okay, and then back down round through here and pick up the range again. I think it's the plan. So we're just about at the cloud base now. Don't know what this is. I should look and see what height Gertor is, but it's probably about 1200, 1300 feet. So going to pick our way across here and then just follow the ridge up onto Haretor. It's been about an hour and a quarter to get here. We don't walk very fast, we're just plodders these days. Fairly easy walking, so a nice walk. Okay, and of course you don't need to do a loop. You could turn around and go back, or cut across to the boundary there and pick your way back down into the range. So as with all these things, you can make them as large or as small as you like. The going isn't too difficult, the navigation isn't that hard, but there isn't a path, so you do have to pick your way up the open moorland. And then a couple of weeks ago we were on Standon Hill over there in the mist. It's super cold, and we came down that flank and then round the boundary of that farm, picked up the walk down the river down through there. So if you've seen that video, you'll know what we're on about. And then between that walk and now, which was 2 weeks ago, we had a week when we had all the snow and stuff, and so we got a couple of walks in that week. We haven't put them up on the YouTube yet, but we will get there. So Ralph insisted on coming over here because there were some sheep over here, so we left Gertor and we sort of like curved around the valley to stay high, so we didn't have to do too much walking back up, and came across to these rocks. Again, I try and check when we get back, probably on dartmoortors.com, to find out what they're called. They will have a name, of course they will. They don't name everything on the maps because it would just fill up the maps. But we're looking above and down into Tavy Cleave from here, so all the summer swimming spots, which we all love and use so much, go along this stretch here. So a nice alternative way in, and if you're brave enough and you go over the flank of Standon Hill there and carry on up the valley system, I think it's called Sandy Hole, and then you carry on, and then eventually you'll get to Furtor out in the middle of the moor out that way. But our way on now is to work our way up this ridge system, and we're heading for Haretor, which is just trying to come out of the cloud base now. So we might be lucky when we get up there, we might see something rather than just walk into the mist, but we will see. beautiful place. So here we are then, up on the summit of Hare Tor. Ralph's just, the fog has just lifted and he's just noticed the sheep down there. So that's looking west. On the walk up, so we've come up from over there, from Tor, and then round to the other rocks and then up the ridge. On the walk up, this came out of the mist for a couple of minutes, but then it clagged back in. So we're going to stop and have something to drink, a little snack here, and hopefully it might lift up and we can see a bit more. But spectacular views up here normally, so a bit of a shame really, but we'll see what happens. So typically as soon as we come off Hare Tor, it just opened out a little bit, so you can see the way we've come down off the flank through the little boggy area here, and we're on our way over to Sharp Tor I think. There's a little feature here which we'll go and look at on the way. Just in the mist out on the skyline over there is Widgery Cross on Brat Tor. And then off the back of here, which we can't actually see from here, is Doe Tor. So you kind of got Doe, Brat, and then Arms Tor, the three lower ones along the side of the A386, and then Hare Tor and Sharp Tor are the two big ones that you see as you drive up towards Oakhampton from Tavistock. Out there, so there you go, marked on the map as a cairn, I believe, which is what that bit in the middle is, but clearly it's an old cyst or something that's been explored. And a boundary stone next to it. Not sure what the boundary stone is for. It says WD, so that's probably water department, I would guess. So maybe a boundary stone for a catchment for one of the utilities. We're going to go up to Sharp Tor. I've decided it's called Sharp Tor, and then we'll make a decision whether we're going to head down to Doe or carry on along the ridge back over that way to Chat Tor. Chat Tor's a tiny little tor, but it's one of Helen's favourites, so it'd be quite nice to go and get it while we're up here. Ralph's been there before, but it'd be nice for you guys to see it. And it's not too much further on, so it's a nice day. We'll probably do that, I think. But Sharp Tor's the next port of call, which is only a couple hundred metres further on. Here we are then up on Sharp Tor, looking back at Hare Tor, which is just coming in and out of the mist. We basically just walked around the hillside to here. The range is down there, the curving wall going back down the range. To the right of that you can see some tracks. They lead back to the car park where the Land Rover is. We then got Wallerbrook down in there, Doe Tor there, Brat Tor there, Arms Tor over there, and then lost in the mist over there is Great Links, and just disappeared into the mist up here. So in this direction here is Chat Tor, which I think we will go and find because we're pretty close to it really, and there'll be some good paths. You can see there's a walker walking along the ridge there, on his way to, or her way to Hare Tor. So there's a bit of a path that runs along the ridge, so if we walked east from here in any conditions, pick up that path and turn left, that'll take us up to Chat Tor. But I think there's probably a few direct paths built across this hillside here over the years, so we'll grab one of those in a minute. It's not too bad navigating up here, even when it mists in like this, provided you know what you're doing and you can relate contours and hill shapes. You'll be all right. Okay, and it's worth having a compass, so if anything goes wrong you just set one compass direction, which over here I would set west, and you will walk down off the hills relatively quickly into a valley system. So nothing to be frightened of, okay, but you do need a few little skills if you're going to come out here when the weather can change like it does here. And they do say on Dartmoor, if you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes. Don't they, Ralph? Yeah, they do, don't they? Good boy. Should we go and find Chat Tor? Do you want to go to Chat Tor? Do you want to go to Chat Tor? Yeah. Here we are then on the approach up to Chat Tor. Strange little tour this one. Lots of horizontal bedding. Almost an isolated boulder type thing really. I think the mist is trying to lift. Looks like it's a bit brighter. Visibility I think is getting a little bit better. We're back on the ridge now. So there's Sharp Tor where we've just come from, and then over there lost in the mist is Hare Tor where we were before that. So we're kind of walking north along the first or the edge of the plateau, or the first ridge line on the west side of the moor. So the main road between Tavistock and Oakhampton runs in the valley, down off to the left. And you can just keep adding to this or cutting off whenever you fancy to go back down and find your way back to where we parked. Not sure what we're going to do yet, but we'll have a little look at Chat Tor now we've come here. One of Helen's favourites, this. Strange little tor. You do get some really nice views out into the middle of the moor from here on some days, but not today. A little bit of snow still lying. Chat Tor. And then just beyond you can see the range post marking the edge of the range. We'll have a little stop here for a couple of minutes and I'll have a think about what we do next. So we decided to go north along the ridge. We come off the ridge slightly to the right hand side, or the moor side. There's a path marked on the map. It's not a great path, to be honest. Some of it's there, sometimes it's bogs, sometimes it's baby's heads like we got just here. But after about 20 minutes of mixed walking your way along the ridge, you come to Lower Dunnigoat, which is just here. It's more impressive from the other side. And then we're just going to carry on up to Higher Dunnigoat, which is there. And these then are the gateway that link into the Great Links Tor, which is the next destination. Off to the side here, there's a track runs up from down in the valley, and then you've got another ridge. You can't see it today over there in over there, but you've got Green Tor and Bleak House. God knows why they called it Bleak House, just out there, which got good swimming spots in the summer. So we've been there and enjoyed that. Ralph's been up here a couple of times, but we'll work our way up to Higher Dunnigoat, and then there's a boggy but established path that takes us west from there across to Great Links, and then it really is time to start heading back south. Otherwise we're going. Great Links just starting to loom up out of the mist. So there's a couple of parallel paths across the top of this ridge to get up to here from the Dunnigoats. They're both very much like this, boggy, easy enough to follow, but it's not a pavement. But anyway, here we are coming up into the Great Links Tors. Spectacular set of tors these, very popular. Most people walk up from the other side, I think. Well, there's a track that comes up around the Great Nodden, which is over that way, over to the right over there. Old mining track. Well, we walked up the track, or the ridge, from Tavy Cleeve, linking all the tors along this western edge, which has been quite nice. We'll go straight on through here and then down the other side to another tor down there, which I think is called Lower Links or Little Links. We'll have a look on the map in a minute, and then we'll pick up Arms Tor, Brat Tor and Doe Tor, back through Wallabrook and back onto the range. Ralph's got some more sheep to play with, so he's happy. Right, atmospheric Great Links. I wonder if anybody else is up here. So leaving Great Links behind, just as I got to the top there was another party walking up the other side, so yet again we had to share Great Links. Coming down here, so these paths now that come down the ridge, there's another pair coming up here, they go down to Arms Tor, so fairly well established path because this is a popular route. And then if we head off this way a little bit, hopefully we just drop over this ridge, we'll see it. Little Links, which we'll go and visit. Don't often bother doing that because it's a bit of a dead leg out of the way, but today we will. So fairly easy navigating back down to Arms Tor and all of that. So Great Links from Little Links. It looks like there's a bit of a track runs up there, which I'm not surprised at. We missed that, so I came down a more obvious track to that little outcrop there, and then we spotted it, so we had to track across the hill to it, but not an issue. our way on really. So coming back this way now, we've got Arms Tor, which is the next one, and then we've got Widgery Cross sitting on top of Brat Tor over there, and then the one behind it is Doe Tor, and then the car's just the other side of that. So we're heading south again. If you look this way, you've got Great Nodden here, the big humpback whale, and there is a really good Land Rover track. You can see it actually cutting up the hillside, which goes up around the back of Great Nodden and then loops all the way around, comes back on the skyline there, you can see it, and up to the back of Great Links. Somebody just trying to climb up on the top, brave. So Ralph's off rounding these sheep up again. So we're going back across the hillside and then going to link all of these tours walking back down the flank of the western side of the hill below the ridge we walked up on, back towards the car. So that's the plan. Great link. Arrival at Arms Tor. Ralph just monitoring the sheep. And then we've got Brat Tor with Widgery Cross behind us. And typically the cloud is now lifted, so you can see over there the one on the right is Hart Tor, and then we've got Hare Tor rather, not Hart, Hare, and then we've got Sharp Tor there. And then we walked along the ridge, went outside, ended up on Great Links, which is just about, you can just about see that up on the top there. Came down to Little Links and then traversed back across the hillside to pick up the main path and come down to here. So we're on the backward leg. We're going to find our way back across here. Okay, probably go to Brat Tor and then Doe Tor, and then work our way back to the car from there. Coming up onto Brat Tor and Widgery Cross. So it's lifted quite a bit now. Wind's dropped. Not that there was much wind, but there's no wind at all now. And the cloud base has lifted up, so we can see virtually everything really. So there's Doe Tor there, just nestling down in the bottom there. So that's our next target. And then we've got over on the skyline there, that's the way we walked up. Up onto Hare Tor, Sharp Tor, across the skyline off the back to Chat Tor. Then over there outside was Green Tor and the Dunner Goats. We didn't go to Green Tor, we went to the Dunner Goats. And we walked up onto Great Links, down to Little Links, traversed back around the hillside, across to Arms Tor where all the sheep are grazing, back to here. So we're nearly done. Most people walk this area from Lidford Common. So there's a really nice car park behind the pub on the edge of the moor, and very common swimming areas. It gets really busy in the summer. We pop over this ridge, you'll see the common with all the paths crisscrossing across it. So as with all these things, lots of options in terms of where you start and how big you make it, but this is a reasonable sized circuit. I think we've been walking 3.5 hours, probably done about, feels like about 10 or 12 kilometers now. Widgery Cross, classic piece of Victorian vandalism, according to some. I think it was Victorian, so famous watercolour painter down here. So the cross is unusual in terms of its recent, so it's in contemporary history really. And as you can see, it was made from blocks rather than carved from one solid piece of granite, which isn't a surprise. We've got to get it up here. Now just walk around the front here. There's a nice picture of Ralph up on the Tor looking for sheep. There you go, you can see Lidford Common there. All the tracks lead back towards the car park. Very popular in the summer. And great for grabbing a short walk up here on a day. And then down in here where the stream snakes down, the river streaks down the side of the common there, there's a black rock pool which is just down there. You can just see the rocks down there actually. So black rock pool is a common swimming spot. There's a couple of other spots further down which aren't so well known. Right, and you can see over there behind the farm out on the flank of the hillside there, you can just see the structures from the firing range. So the Land Rover is over there. So we've got one more valley to get across really, to get back to the Land Rover. So we're going to go round to Dartmoor Tors, which is this one just over here. And then we've got to get across the valley. So unfortunately there's no public right of access land or public footpath through the bottom of here, otherwise it'd be quite nice to walk down onto the common and just go across the end. So we're going to have to go across Dartmoor Tors and then the public access land behind it to get back into Willsworthy Range. So be it, it's not the end of the world. Now there is a secret little swimming spot in here. Well, it's not a swim spot, it's more of a plunge pool. So we might go and find that, just so that you can see that. So if you look on Dartmoor Tors, you might just see a horizontal line, which is an old leat that runs around there, and where the leat joins this stream system, which is down by where the trees are, down in there, there's a little header pool for the leat, which you can just about float in if you want to. So we might go and find that, just so you can see that. I've been in it. I don't think I'll be going in it today, it's quite cold. Right, but we're going to have a look at it. Maybe we'll come back and get in there on a summer's day. So here is the secret pool. If you're coming down off Widger and you want to find it, that's a fairly obvious tree, and you'll see the scar of the leat. So there's a further horizontal path higher up the hill, so it's the lower of the two horizontal paths really that you'll see as you come down. It's going to lead you down into here, but the tree's a good target to aim for. Here's the pool. So I have been in here. It's a lovely secluded little spot for a dip. Okay, not today though. I know you're all going, go on Vernon, you wimp, but not today. We've had quite a long walk, so we're going to try and get back. Alright, got to get across this now. Dartmoor Tors then, the last of today's tours. Looking back at Dartmoor Tors, then you can just see the tops of Arms Tor, and then as ever the whole circuit, Sharp, Hare Tor, little lump on the side of Hare Tor there. And our way up was over that next hummock ridge over there. This is the way we went up this morning. The way back from here is we've got to get across the top of Wallabrook here, and there's a couple of paths. There's one that goes across down there by the field boundary and kind of hugs the field boundary and drops into the bottom of the valley, and the one we want is this one here that then cuts up to the big scar you can see and picks up the range tracks, and then we can just walk back down to the car from there. So nearly done. Don't know. Here we are then, back in Willsworthy Range. We're sitting on the top of White Hill, another range marker there. So you can see the firing range is down here. So the car's just down the track over there. We came up through here, there's the range hut there behind the berm. We carried up, went up through that hillside, through the wall, and then up onto Dartmoor Tors, and then the walk off now is literally just back down here to the track, and then back down the track to the Land Rover. So big day out. Nice, dog's still happy. Aren't you, Ralph? You happy, aren't you? Yes you are. Yes you are, good boy. I'm happy, so not too knackered actually. All right, hips hurting a little bit, but I am an old man, so that's to be expected. So there's the leat, just to help you get your bearings. There's the leat, okay, the mine leat, which we walked down to earlier on. That goes round and fills the reservoir and then feeds the hydroelectric, the small hydroelectric that is down at Peter Tavy. Okay, and then over there on the skyline hump, okay, that's called Hangman's Hill. Always a Hangman's Hill, isn't there? Which the road, the Tavistock to Oakhampton road, crosses this moor between here and that hill. Can't see it really, can't see any traffic on it at the minute. Alright, and then as ever, Brentor out there on the skyline, and then lost in the mist going west, we've got Bodmin Moor. Alright, Great Nodden over there. We haven't been on that today, but we looked at that when we were over on Great Links and Little Links. So more or less most of the North Moor West Ridge really walked today, apart from Sowerton, that little bit. Good. Right, enough of me pontificating. Let's go and do a little bit of shopping and go home and put our feet up, and this will be us done. It's quite nice light now, isn't it? It's quite pretty. Bit of sun, still a little bit of snow out around there. Great Nodden over there. We also had a few dogs to play with in the range here. Lots of people walk their dogs up and down the range paths. So, funny enough, still got plenty of energy left for a chase around with the dog. So really nice walk. Some of it there's no path for, so it's the typical Dartmoor boggy, pick your way through, but not too much really. Navigation's pretty straightforward, especially I think if the visibility is good. Most of it's inside the Willsworthy Range though, so it's one for a weekend or for when they're not firing for sure. But you can see the car park down here. It's quite busy now. Hardly anybody here when we turned up this morning. But we've been out. Once I get down, I'll check the numbers for you and let you know what the numbers were. But yeah, a reasonable day. I think about 5 hours, I think, in all.